I have this. So today we want to continue with the book of Acts. So you follow with me, you could go to Acts 25, Acts 25. And this is when Paul, talked to Festus, okay? Last week, we talked about was Paul, was talking to Felix, okay? And then we know how Felix was and all the, situation that he struggled and how Felix know that Paul was innocent, but even though he doesn't let him, go. He was, he don't want, today they be able to see that he was with Paul, so he let him and say, oh, we want to check it out later on. And 2 years, pass. And then he need to leave, and then Festus, come. So we want to see how the interaction between now Festus instead of Felix, it's a government switch over there. So now we want to see how Festus, dealing with this with Paul. That is kind of what we want to talk, today. Okay. So we have put Paul's trial. Okay, not trial. Okay. And then we want to let you know where we are, okay? So, remember, what happened with Paul in Jerusalem, in the Sanhedrin, they're trying to, well, first of all, in the temple, they're trying to kill him. Then later, they present to the Sanhedrin, and then the Sanhedrin say, like, oh, how about if you bring Paul to us, to the Sanhedrin, but before arriving to the Sanhedrin, with the leaders, we want to kill him. Okay, that was the complot that they have against Paul. Okay, was that thing happened in Jerusalem, and those people stay, like they say, they make a vow to say we're not gonna eat or drink until we kill Paul, kind of stuff. Okay, so that was happened in Jerusalem. Okay, but then the commander know about this, and they say no, it's not gonna happen when I'm there, okay? And he figured out that Paul was a Roman citizen, said, no, I want to protect him. And then he sent it with 470 soldiers, all the way to Antipatris and then later to Caesarea, okay? So then now he's been in Caesarea, and then Felix was with him, okay? Well, Felix was the governor of Caesarea, or the area, and he was the trial, with him. So that's what we're talking, last week. So now we want to start with Paul 2 years later, being in Caesarea, okay? And what happened there, okay? So we want to start with Acts 23, 1-3. 3 days after arriving in the province, Festus went up from Caesarea to Jerusalem, where the chief priests and the Jewish leaders appeared before him and present the charges against Paul. They request Festus, as a favor to them, to have Paul transferred to Jerusalem, for they were preparing an ambush to kill him along the way. So what happening? Now, instead of Felix, was Festus. And then when Festus arrived, the governor need to say, okay, I know that Jerusalem is a good, important city in the area that I'm in charge. So I want to know how was everything over there. So they go and talk to the leaders, and the leader says, hey, there's a person over there that is Paul. Can you bring it over here? We could talk about this thing. But they knew that even Felix, when I was talking about Felix was a slave before, and then become a governor. So that's one of the first, people who's been born a slave and then become a governor. So he was a bad guy. He was really not a good guy. But Festus wasn't like Felix. Festus was better person, than Felix. So they say, well, but I know that I need to have a relationship, with these people, so I want to know what they want. And say, oh, no, bring it over here. But they knew they don't have charges against him. That they have charges, but they don't have like a proof, of this charge. So then what they say, bring it over here, but we don't want to have a trial for him. We want to kill him before. So that's kind of the idea that they have. Okay? So just to let you know, these people first lie about Paul. Okay? They're trying to kill him. Okay? So they lie about Paul. And not only like that, he lied, and then he went with Felix, and then go, trying to lie again, and then trying to kill, Paul. And that happened 2 years ago. And then in 2 years, they're still thinking, lying and trying to murder him. Still like you would think like in 2 years, the people are going to say, well, we try. He's still in the jail. He's still with the Roman custodian. So it's over, okay? Let's get over it, okay? But sometimes not like that. These people really want to do something against Paul. So I want to ask, now I want to turn, to us. And I want to ask to you that when things happen, maybe, 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago, okay? And it still bothers you, okay? How about this? There's something that you still have something over there for someone that maybe is not a big deal, it's not but still like I don't like that, okay? So you don't let it go, okay? You still have it over there. And I don't say that you was right, he was wrong, or I don't say about who was right, who was wrong. I just say that bothered you, okay? And sometimes we didn't let that go. We still have it over there in one place in your mind, and when we see that person, like, or a person that you see and you say, oh no, I don't want to say hi, and then you hide again. I know that doesn't happen to you, or only happen to me. Okay, that is sometimes that kind of situation, that misunderstanding, because the guy downstairs work. Okay, the guy downstairs work, and he want separation. They want, to be a little thing that bother you, okay? So I don't know, because I just want to put it over there, okay? And let, God talk to you about it. But I have the first point that I have over here is, if there's something that someone did to you that still hurt you, okay? Or made you uncomfortable, I want you to think about it. What does God bring you to your mind? Okay, in this case. For the sake of what happened with them, they still want, to kill, Paul. That was a big deal, okay? But sometimes for us, it's not a big deal, but it's still there and bother us, okay? If there been 2 years, okay, want to put that line, okay? If that happened 2 years ago, well, we know what we need to do, okay? We know that we need to forgive, okay? Or let it go, okay? But how can you know if you forgive and not forget? Okay? If you see that person, if you are with that person and you could, calm down. There's one time, that happened to me, one of the person that I really, I feel that she lied. I was trying to help her. She was a person from another country, came, to YWAM. And then I tried to help her, and because she doesn't know the language, she doesn't know. And I've been here for more years than her, okay? So I think I could help her, I know where to go, what to buy, what cell phone need to buy, what is the best, So I tried to help her, And then later I feel like she lied to me, and then so I feel betrayed kind of stuff. And I was, and then she leave, YWAM. So okay, so I don't need to deal with that. I never say anything to her. I just be quiet, that's okay. But she started going to the same church that I'm going. And I go, ugh. So really, I was over there, and then I was trying to do worship, and I saw her, and I said, and each time when I saw her, I do the Father prayer. Okay, I don't know, you call like that, the Father prayer, that, the forgive my trespasses the same way. Okay, so that's all the time. And I really don't want to. And then she went to another church, like, okay, finally, I don't want to see her. Okay? And then she come back because have another problem. She comes from another church, so she come back like, Argh. So we're like, and really, I don't want to go, to talk to you. I just want, I don't want to see you. I don't want to. But we went to the same church. And one day, the pastor, realized, because she wanted to apply for a position in the church. So they say, well, she's from White, so why don't you tell us, how good it is to work with her? Like, oops. And then I was thinking to say, she's okay, and don't ask me that again. But I said, I can. So I say all these things. And I say, how can you know about it? Oh, we don't know anything about it. I said, oh, okay. So why do you ask me? Oh, because she worked in White, so we thinking you have a good, okay. So then the pastor said, well, I think you need to talk. Okay. So then the pastor brings us, together to his house, and we need to talk. And then I cry and say and all, and then finally, get together. And then later, feel, better. But was years. And I was a missionary, okay? So, and then, but as soon as I don't see it, I'm okay. As soon as I see it, okay? So if there's something like that, if that happened to me, okay, maybe it happened to you, okay? Maybe not from this place, maybe it is, maybe not. But if there's something happened 2 years ago, we want to put that in like a level. And then God remind you right now that do something about it, okay? You know what something means, okay? Well, I want to continue with that. Okay, then later, Acts 25, 6b to 8 says, next day, he convened the court and ordered that Paul brought before him. When Paul came in, the Jews who had come down from Jerusalem stood around him. They brought many serious charges against him, but they could not prove them. Okay, one stop over there. They said too much thing about him, but they couldn't prove them, okay? 8, then Paul made his defense. I have done nothing wrong against Jewish law or against the temple or against Caesar. Okay, I have nothing wrong, and you know about it. It's kind of what he's saying, okay? So the thing that happened here is they have a serious charge against him. Okay? But all of them are false. We could see in the Bible that there's other people who's been false accused. Okay? We could bring Joseph or Daniel, okay, in the Bible, that they didn't be false accused for others. But we know who's the accuser, okay? Who is the person who put that, in the mind of the people to do bad, okay? That guy downstairs, okay? So I want to let you know, is the point number 2, that every follower of Jesus is a target of a false accusation, okay? That happened to them, okay? It could happen to you, okay? And then it's not that good, okay? Because we know that we don't have the fight against flesh and blood. Okay? We know who we're fighting with. And in Revelation 12:10 says, Then I heard a loud voice in heaven says, Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom to our God and the authority of his Messiah. For the accuser of our brothers and sisters who accuse them before our God day and night has been heard down. So we know who accused, okay? Who is the accuser of our brothers and sisters, okay? We know that where that come from. So if somebody are kind of saying, lies about you or false accuse about you, and and it's kind of a difficult situation, okay? But we need to rest in the things, that Romans, how the Bible says in Romans 8:33-34 say, who will bring any charge against those whom God has chosen? It is God who justifies. Who then is the one who condemns? No one. Christ Jesus, who died, more than that, who was raised to life, is at the right hand of God and is also interceding, for us. There's situation, to happen to the followers of Jesus that sometimes is not fair, okay? So when you thinking that is something that happened to you is not fair, you need to, go with God too, and then figure out, what is the thing that He wants to show you in these, situations, and knowing that in the end is God who's there. Paul, is having this problem, okay? That they know that was a false accusation, and that's kind of funny because the Sanhedrin, bring a lawyer, to talk about it, but Paul maybe don't have enough money to pay, or say Paul said, no, I could do it myself. He do it by himself. He defend himself instead of pay somebody else, to do it. But at the same time, he say, well, we want to continue. What does Paul mentality was in this, okay? And we'll see over here. Acts 25, 9-12 say, Festus, wishing to do a Jews a favor, said to Paul, are you willing to go to Jerusalem and start a trial before me there on these charges? Paul answered, I am now standing before Caesar's court, where I ought to be tried. I have not done any wrong to the Jews, or as yourself know very well. So I want to stop over there. First of all, Festus wants to say, look, I know that I need to have a good relationship with the leaders in Jerusalem, so that's why he asked this kind of thing, like, hey, do you want to go to Jerusalem? And then Paul said, no way, there's not going to happen like that. And then Paul said to Festus in the last part, say, as yourself know very well that he doesn't do anything wrong. They say, Festus, you know that I'm doing nothing wrong. Why you keep continue with this? 11, if, however, I'm guilty of doing anything deserving death, I do not refuse to die. So we need to see the mindset of Paul. I say, yes, if I did something that I need to die for it, that's okay. But in this case, it's not like that. In this case, it's not like that. He knew that was false, all the things that happened. Continue, but if their charges brought against me by these Jews are not true, no one has the right to hand me over to them. I appeal to Caesar. After Festus asked comfort with his counsel, he declared, you have appealed to Caesar you will go. So the situation with Paul says, yeah, they kind of like they look in the eye, Festus and him, like, you know that there's lies, okay, come on, okay, that's, why don't you, do you need to do and say, no, but how about this, how about that? And he said to him, no, actually, I appeal to Caesar, okay? So any a Roman citizen be able to appeal to Caesar, okay? Paul appealed specifically to Caesar and as a Roman citizen. Because the case could be heard by Caesar himself, okay, but the Supreme Court of the Roman Empire, okay. Just because he's a Roman citizen, he could be judged, by Caesar. In that time, Caesar was Nero, okay, and we know about Nero, okay. He was an anti-Christian. Nero was an anti-Christian, but In the first 5 years of being a Caesar or emperor, it wasn't like that. Okay? The first 4 years, it wasn't like that. Then later, But the first 5 years wasn't like that. So that's why Paul doesn't think like the emperor is going to be against him. Okay? Because of, I have nothing to prove, that he's anti-Christian yet. Okay? So that's why he appealed, to Caesar. Not knowing that maybe, Caesar is going to be different, but no in the first 5 years of Nero time, okay? So he appealed to Caesar and said, okay, you save Caesar, well, you go to Rome. And remember what does God told him when he was in the jail in the Antonius fortress, okay? And he said to him that he's going to go to Rome. Okay, so this is kind of where God is using him to, whatever he says is going to happen in his life. Okay? What else? Acts 25, 13 to 14a. Then another important person appeared. Okay? And this King Agrippa. So a few days later, King Agrippa and Bernice arrived at Caesarea and to pay their respect to Festus. Since they were spending many days there, Festus discussed Paul's case with the king. Now, another important person came, that is King Agrippa, and Bernice, that is her sister. Okay, so they arrived there, and when we could see, who King Agrippa was. Okay, King Agrippa, his great-grandfather had tried to kill Jesus when he was a baby. Okay, who is the line to the Herod, okay? His grandfather had John the Baptist beheaded, okay? His father killed the first apostle, James, okay? He killed the martyr, James, okay? Was his father. So now Paul wanna know, King Agrippa. That we know who he likes, okay? And see what is the line, of his action, be done. Okay? So, I'm going to continue. Acts 25, 14b to 22 says, Festus, okay, to Agrippa, okay? There's a man here who Felix left as a prisoner. Okay, talking about Paul. 15. When I went to Jerusalem, the chief priests and the elders of the Jews brought charges against him and asked that he be condemned. 16. I told them that it's not the Roman custom to hand over anyone before they have faced their accusers and have an opportunity to defend themselves against the charges. 17. When they came here with me, I did not delay the case, but convened the court the next day and ordered the man to be brought in. When his accusers got up to speak, they did not charge him with any of the crimes that I expected. Instead, they had some points of dispute with him about their own religions and about a dead man named Jesus who Paul claimed was alive. I want to stop there. So Festus says, look, I don't know what to do with this, okay? And Agrippa had more understanding about the Jewish customs. Okay, he know a little bit more about it. Says Festus said, "Oh, that's good. You know a little bit more, so you could tell me about this kind of thing happening." So Festus said, "Look, there's this prisoner, to Felix doesn't want to release, okay, but now it's here, and then all the other ones, trying to condemn him. They trying to they shouldn't leave." And then I say, but I don't know what to do, because really he doesn't do anything wrong to deserve death, to deserve to die. But also, it's talking about religious stuff, about their own laws, about a name Jesus, okay? And then when Festus says, a dead man named Jesus, we know that Festus had no clue about what Jesus was. Festus doesn't know who Jesus was. So it's like, okay, this is a name Jesus that people think that's died, but Paul says that he's alive. So like, it's kind of confusing over here. Many times we share with others, and maybe if we're in an environment, a Christian environment, we think that everyone else know about Jesus. We're thinking that everyone know Jesus. But maybe they hear about Jesus, but maybe they don't know who he is and what he can do in our life. I remember when I wasn't a Christian, I heard about Jesus because I have family who's talking about Jesus. And they come to me and say, God have something, good for you, and Jesus love you, and say, yeah, okay. You think you're going to go to heaven? Go away. That's okay. It's good for you. Let me live my life. Okay? Until I was 27 and I accepted Jesus in my heart. And believe me, at that time, I didn't know too much about Jesus. I know enough, to know that he died in the cross for my sins. Okay? So until now, I know a little bit. But I could say that my kids know more than me when I was 27. My kids, sometimes they tell me, oh, wow. Sometimes they don't listen too much to me, but they listen to the Sunday school or, some other people, okay? So they know more than me that when I was 27, I thinking that Jesus and Moses, they were the same age. They live in the same time. That's what I was thinking. Why? Because in both times they killed the babies. So we're thinking, it's only one time happened. They killed the baby one time, and Moses and Jesus was there, and both be safe. That's what I have in my mind, and I was 27 years old. So I want you to understand that many people doesn't know about Jesus. You think they know, but they don't know. We need to bring them Jesus and say, what does Jesus can do in your life? I grew up as a Catholic. And in Mexico, they teach you, Jesus is there, it's in the cross. And then nobody's like that, but with Jesus over there. So it's over there. But there's all the other people, to save you too. It's okay. So sometimes you don't know, you're confused. And you don't know who Jesus can bring you to God. You don't know that. You bring, those kind of little things that you put over there that you think they're going to, cover you and save you. Or no. But sometimes the people doesn't know that Jesus, okay, is the way. Okay, Jesus is the relation with God. I didn't know that we have a relation with God. I was thinking you could do 70 good, okay, and 50 bad, and I go to heaven. That's why my mentality. So sometimes you don't think just because the people know or heard about Jesus, they know who Jesus is. And I believe that in this case, if Festus was I don't know what Jesus is, I believe that Paul had more talking about who Jesus was. I think, knowing Paul, how he's always taking an opportunity to share about Jesus, I think he shared about Jesus to him. But I just want you to open your eyes that even sometimes we're in a Christian environment and we think we know the same thing. But it's not like that. You could be surprised that the many people that you work with or they don't know what Jesus is or what Jesus could do, or if you could have a relationship with God through Jesus. It's not clear. It wasn't clear for me until I was 27. 20. I was at a loss how to investigate such matter. So I asked if he would be willing to go to Jerusalem and stand trial there for this charge. Here is talking, Festus talking to Agrippa, okay? 21. But when Paul made his appeal to the over for the emperor's decision, okay, to Caesar, I ordered him held until I could send him to Caesar. 22. The Agrippa said to Festus, I would like to hear this man myself. He replied, Festus says, tomorrow you will hear him. Okay? Just so you know, sorry, you don't want to hear that because it's the next week. Okay? So you could come next week about what does Paul, talk to Agrippa. Okay? But over here, Agrippa said, I want to know about this man. I want to hear about him. I was curious, about that. The curiosity of Agrippa, says to Festus, I want to talk to him too. Okay? Acts 25:23. Next day, Agrippa and Bernice came with a great pomp and entered the audience room with the high-ranking military officers and the prominent men of the city. At the command of Festus, Paul brought in. So I want you to see this like at the movie, okay? This is a movie, okay? It's in your mind. And then this is when King Agrippa and Bernice, and Festus, came. But no, they don't came by themselves. It wasn't an audience, that Felix, have it. Sometimes Felix go and see Paul, and you just talk to him and say, oh, enough, Paul, I don't want, to continue, talking about this. Okay? It wasn't like that. It was a big deal. Okay? It was like imagine, trumpets, gonna come, and then they enter, and then what dress. It was a big show. Okay? It was a glamour, was a pomp, was really big deal. Even not only them, but also, high-ranking military officers and prominent men of the city. So it's a big audience, okay? It was a big deal. So, and all of them came to hear who? Paul. They came to hear Paul. So you could see here how God bring Paul to talk to the high of the society in that time. Okay, he already talked to Felix. Okay, he already talked to Festus, and I'm going to talk to the King Agrippa. You will see next week, okay, about it. But he's going to, what he says he's going to do it, he's doing it right now. And not only them, but also the workers that they have. So it was a big deal. They have a big time. And then what happened? Festus says, King Agrippa and all who are present with us. You see this man, the whole Jewish community has petitioned me about him in Jerusalem and here in Caesarea, showing that he ought not to live any longer. 25. I found he had done nothing deserving to death, but because he made his appeal to the emperor, I decided to send him to Rome. 26. But I have nothing defined to write to his majesty about him. Therefore, I have brought him before all of you, and especially before you, King Agrippa, so that as a result of the investigation, I might have something to write. For I think it is unreasonable to send a prisoner to Rome without specifying the charge against him. Okay? So what happened here? They say, he present, Paul. Paul came and say, it's good, that it's going to be having this thing. Because really, I don't know how to write it down to Caesar. Okay? Festus doesn't know how to write to Caesar. And imagine Festus says like, I really don't know, okay? I really don't know what to do with this person, okay? I really don't know what this man is accused, and he's probably innocent of any wrongdoing. But I thought it should be sent to you anyway, okay? He can write down something like that to Caesar. He need to find out what's wrong. So then he have this thing. So Festus doesn't, he knew that Paul was guilty. He knew that. But he said, he said he's going to go to, Caesar said that, but it's good that I have this kind of talking because I'll figure out what to put in there, how I need to write it down, okay? How to do my homework, okay? So, with this thing happen, this is, okay, Caesarea is here, okay, and Rome is here, okay? So before that happened, okay, point number 3, don't let the world tell you who or what is important. Remember what is important for them? The important was, how they dress, how they came, who come with them, like that. The whole thing, it is sending a message that is important, okay? God is important. Ask Him what is important in your life. It's one thing what is the world says about what is important. But here we know what is important. You know what is important over here? Was Jesus, was Paul. And you think, when Bernice, I don't know how we dress, with a big, dress, and the king, imagine how they dress. They thinking that Paul was part of their own stories. When we know that they, the king, is being part of Paul's story. So we need to understand what is the important. Over here, the important part is Jesus, and then Paul. But in their mindset, they thinking that there was the important. 2,000 years ago, we know what is important. And if Luke didn't write it down this here, we don't know anything about this situation with the King Agrippa and Festus. So talk to God and tell you what is important for God in your life, instead of what does the world tell you that is important. When I come over here, I'm talking about sports. For me, is the most important things or the less important things in life. Okay? But if they're not sport, there's something else. Okay? I remember one person, says, to know me, say, I don't want to marry you because you like so much sports. Okay? And she married a person who liked music. Okay? And it's the same thing. Instead of watching sports and the TV or playing, he was with the guitar and watching other people music. We have always something, okay? So I will tell you to ask God what is important in your life. Okay, what is the important? Something, what the world says that is important. What do you think God telling you that is important? That's it. Let's pray. Father, I want to tell you that thank you, for this time. God, if we have something, that we held, for more than 2 years, we want to give it to you, okay? Put it in our minds, what is those things? And we don't think anything right now. We could have this homework, to go and think about those things. And we understand that the world tells us what is important. But we want to know what is important to you. Please show us what is the thing in our life that should we put more attention. The things that we don't know or we think is not a big deal. And sometimes, people, tell us, what is the important thing, but we want that you let us know what is the important thing in our life. Bless this time, bless this congregation, and remind them, what is the important thing that you want in their life. In the name of Jesus, amen. Now, can you stand, please, those who can? The benediction. May the strength of God sustain us. May the power of God preserve us. May the hands of God protect us. May the way of God direct us. And may the love of God go with us this day and forever. Amen.